I have had this for a bit now, and a few people asked me about it, so here is my take. I put it on my own front door and used it as my main way in and out, not just for a quick test. If you are the kind of person who is tired of carrying keys, or you want to see who is at the door without adding a separate doorbell camera, this is basically aimed at you. It is a door lock that also has a camera and a doorbell built in, so it is trying to handle a few everyday problems in one place. What made it interesting to me is the way it changes the front door routine. I used to do that thing where I would pat my pockets, juggle groceries, and then realize my keys were buried somewhere. With this lock, I end up using my fingerprint most of the time, and the door opens fast enough that it feels normal after a couple of days. It is not magic, it is just one less annoying step when my hands are full. In person, it looks like a serious piece of hardware. The outside portion has the camera at the top and the fingerprint reader where your thumb naturally lands. The whole thing feels solid, not hollow. The buttons are easy to press and they have a normal click to them. On the inside, you get the interior unit with the thumb turn. I still like having that physical turn on the inside because it feels familiar, and I do not have to think about it if I am leaving in a hurry. Installation was easier than I expected, but it still took some patience. I am not a locksmith, but I have swapped a few deadbolts before, and this felt similar. I took the old lock off, lined up the new parts, and followed the manual step by step. It took me under an hour, and most of that was me double-checking alignment and making sure the door closed smoothly. The biggest thing is that your door has to be aligned well. If your deadbolt already sticks or you have to pull the door to get it to lock, you will want to fix that first. A smart lock will not solve a sticky door, and this one is no different. Once it was installed, daily use is where it started to make sense. The fingerprint unlock is what I use the most. I added my fingerprints in the app, and after that it was pretty consistent. When my hands were dry, it worked almost every time. When my finger was damp from washing dishes, it sometimes took a second try. If I had lotion on, it could be a little picky. That is normal for fingerprint readers in my experience. It is not a deal breaker, but it is worth saying out loud because it is not perfect. I also set up a passcode for the days I do not feel like using the fingerprint reader, like when my hands are messy from cooking. Typing a code is straightforward, and the buttons are easy to see at night. I created a temporary code for someone who needed access while I was out, then removed it afterward. That part is genuinely useful in real life, and it saved me from hiding a key somewhere dumb. The auto-lock feature is something I did not think I cared about until I used it. I set it to lock a couple minutes after the door unlocks. What I like is that it takes the mental load off. I do not have to stand there wondering if I actually locked the door. I will say, if you have a habit of stepping outside to grab a package and coming right back, you need to pick a delay that fits your routine. I had it set too short at first, and it locked while I was still dealing with deliveries. That was on me, and adjusting it fixed it. Now the camera side. The video quality is sharp enough that I can clearly see faces and read small details like a logo on a shirt when someone is close to the door. It records to a memory card, which I personally prefer because I do not want another subscription. You do need to have that memory card in there for it to store footage, and I recommend checking that it is actually recording the way you expect after you set it up. I did a few test rings and motion events, then played them back to make sure everything was working. Motion detection has been reliable for me, but it depends a lot on your porch setup. On my door, it catches people walking up and it sends a notification fast enough that I can actually react. If you have a busy sidewalk right in front of your door, you will probably want to adjust the sensitivity. Otherwise, you will get too many alerts. I spent a little time dialing that in, and after that it stopped being annoying. The doorbell part is simple. It rings, and the included chime is loud enough that I hear it from the back of my house. The sound is not fancy, but it is clear. Two-way talk works fine for quick conversations. I used it when a delivery person needed a signature and I was not home. There is always going to be a tiny delay with phone audio, and I noticed it here too, but it is still useful. Using the mobile app is mostly straightforward. I check events, I unlock the door remotely when I need to, and I manage codes from there. Remote unlock is one of those things you hope you never need, but it comes in handy. I used it when a family member showed up early and I was still driving home. I unlocked it, they got inside, and I locked it again after. It worked, and it saved everyone time. Wi-Fi has been stable for me, but the door is not far from my router. If your router is on the other side of the house, you might run into delays or missed notifications with any smart door device. If you already have weak signal at the front door, you will want to deal with that because it affects the experience more than people think. In real weather, it held up fine on my door. I have had it through rain and cold mornings. The fingerprint reader still worked, though like I said, wet fingers can be a little hit or miss. The camera handled bright afternoons and low-light evenings well enough that I could still tell what was happening. At night, it is not going to turn your porch into daylight, but it gave me clear video of people at the door. There are a few limitations I want to be honest about. This is a more complex device than a normal lock, so there are more things to set up and more settings to understand. If you want something you never have to think about, a basic deadbolt is still the lowest stress option. The other thing is that you will want to keep an eye on battery life. I did not have it die on me, but I got into the habit of checking the battery level in the app every so often, especially after a week with a lot of motion events. And if your door alignment is not great, you will feel it. The deadbolt needs to slide smoothly, or you will get the occasional lock attempt that sounds strained. Overall, living with it day to day has been good. I end up using the fingerprint unlock constantly, and I check the camera more than I expected, mostly for deliveries. The combination of lock, doorbell, and video has made my front door feel more manageable. Not perfect, but practical, and it has genuinely fit into my routine. If you have been using a standard lock and a separate doorbell camera, and you are tired of juggling multiple apps and devices, this can simplify that setup. If you just want a lock and you do not care about seeing who is outside, then you probably do not need something like this. But for me, as someone who uses the front door camera and also wants keyless entry, it has been a solid everyday tool. If you have questions about anything I did not cover, or you want me to test a specific situation on my door, leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel if you want more real-world tech reviews like this. Thank you for watching.